What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Breaking and Entering podcast. I'm Ed. That's Brandon. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. Purple Friday here in Maryland. Even though I'm not wearing purple, I got some purple stuff in my car. Some damn way,
Yeah,
we repping though.
I hear you.
How
That's
are
what we're
you?
gonna talk about today, y'all. The AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game. Let's get into it.
Yep. Let's hit this opening drive real quick. Raheem Mostert, Morris, excuse me. He's back in NFC South as a head coach. This time he'll be in the dirty South with the Falcons. The Panthers, they've hired Bucks offensive coordinator Dave Canales. I think I'm pronouncing that right as their head coach. New Titans head coach Brian Callahan announced that he has plans to call the plays for his squad heading into 2024. Vic Fangio, um, he's headed to Philadelphia to be their defensive coordinator. And Jim Harbaugh, he's headed back to the National Football League, back to the West Coast, and back to one of the teams he played for. Harbaugh will coach the Chargers in 2024. Um, you're a Michigan fan. You're familiar with him over the past 9 seasons. You think that'll help change the tide there in Los Angeles as far as them losing close games and stuff like that?
Man, this is getting so hyped up. Harbaugh getting hired by the Chargers. I'm already hearing people saying they're going to be in the Super Bowl next couple years. They're talking about, the Harbaugh brothers coaching against each other, not just in the regular season, but people think, the Chargers are going to be back
Mhm.
shining again, perennial playoff contender, Super Bowl type guys. So I think it's gonna work out well for Justin Herbert. Not just Justin Herbert, but the defense, because they got pieces on defense. We talk about all the time, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and those guys,
Yep.
and how they always underperform, and it doesn't make sense. So I think it will benefit the Chargers, but I need to see how it looks. I mean, like you always say, it looks great on paper, but we got to see how it is on the field. So I'm sure he'll be an improvement, but I just don't know, the level of improvement we'll get. But yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Before we get started with this episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD health and wellness company. Check out their line of CBD infused products, which are a perfect after workout refuel for athletes, a pain reliever for weekend warriors, and even a natural sports drink for us armchair quarterbacks. Their featured product is CBD infused honey, which is a personal favorite of mine, as well as tinctures and mint and natural flavors. They are veteran, woman, and minority owned. So come get some of this sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code B&E for 15% off your order. The website is premium.com. That's PREHEMIUM.com. Again, that's PREHEMIUM.com. And now let's get back to our show. All right, Chiefs at the Ravens. This game is going to start Sunday. It's going to be the first game of that day. Um, I've been thinking about this game all week. Again, this is I'm looking for this game the most out of both of the games on Sunday. I don't know, Brandon. I want y'all to win, but it just, the Chiefs, like you say, if you want to beat them, you got to beat them. And it is starting to, because you remember back in the day, Brady, when he won games, it's like, how the hell did he do that? Like,
Yep.
are you kidding me? Patrick Mahomes is starting to have those moments. Go back to the Bills game when they got like 10 seconds left. You thought, oh, wow, Josh Allen finally pulled through. No, Patrick Mahomes pulled something out of his ass and they won that game. So I don't know, but I still am leaning to y'all. I think that home field advantage will help you a lot. My most important thing that I'm looking for, the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. Offensive line, got to protect Lamar Jackson, got to be able to run the ball. Defensive line, you got to contain Patrick Mahomes, keep him in the pocket. Don't let him roll out. So also you got to stop Isaiah Pacheco. Don't let him get going.
Yep.
Don't let any of the running backs get going. Y'all did a good job last week, but this is a different beast. I will say this though. I don't know if the guard Joe Tooney for the Chiefs is going to play. He had an injury last week, and he's like an all-pro guard for them. So just a little chink in armor like that could be the difference. So that's another reason I'm still leaning towards you guys as a favorite. Lamar Jackson, I know, just don't turn the ball over. Keep doing your thing. Like you out there, you playing like I don't know. I would describe it as like free. I don't know. I don't feel like he's like, got handcuffs or shackles on him right now. I
Yeah.
feel like he's just out there flowing and doing his thing. We texted about this too. Dalvin Cook. I feel like if y'all use him the right way, give him a screen pass, dump him a little quick pass out the backfield, and also keep him in the run game too. Change the pace with Gus Edwards and Justin Hill, and I think y'all can win this game. Time of possession, no turnovers, and get after Mahomes, and don't let the Chiefs run the ball. So yeah, I'm gonna give the Ravens this one. I think it's gonna be a relatively close game though, so I'm gonna say like 23-21. That's all I'm going with. How about you, man?
Yeah, I guess you can hope you can see my name there on the caption line. It says beat Kansas City, beat KC. That's all I'm focused on right now. For real, for real. 1-3 is our record against Mahomes with Jackson as a starter. I think I'd start there because that's going to be a topic of discussion. I already know in the pre-games and the and during the broadcast, they only got a limited amount of stuff to talk about before they run out of stuff. But this year is different. I think we finally got some guys that can catch the ball, and our defense is vaunted. I'm going to stay with the defense first. Number one in sacks, turnovers, and points per game allowed during the season. Matabikwe, Kyle Hamilton, Roquan, I need you guys to be leaders in this game. Those guys have been making plays for us all year. Even Geno Stone back there in the secondary. He started off hot, kind of quieted down. We need big games from these type of playmakers. Get them homes, like you said, and take them down. We just can't touch them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know it's kind of fluid. You can't hit the quarterback like that. You're going to risk a 15-yard penalty and stuff, but we got to take him down. He's not going to turn the ball over. Patrick Mahomes he's not a big interception type quarterback. He has over the past few years have thrown more than he has in previous seasons, but it's better to get him with sacks, in my opinion, even though that offensive line is pretty good. You mentioned the running backs. I'm watching Pacheco myself heading into this game, and of course Travis Kelce and Rice. Those are the three guys on offense besides the guy that's throwing the ball that can make plays for this team. Keep Mahomes from scrambling, buying time, and even running. Mahomes had a couple runs over the last couple weeks that, we don't see him make a lot of plays with his legs as far as running, but he is capable. So, yeah, I definitely want to make sure that we're trying to get that done. Offensively and special teams, it's simple. First downs, touchdowns, special teams. Don't give up a special teams touchdown like we did last week because it could come back to bite us. We got lucky and was able to stop them. But again, get the ball in the end zone. No turnovers. We win that turnover battle. I think we got a good chance. But heading into this game, I see two of our biggest fans, Captain Defense and Real Fan Dan. One was on the Baltimore NBC station, Real Fan Dan. He's the one that does the Ravens chant after every touchdown. Basically came out and said, hey, we were really loud last week against Houston, but we need to be even louder in this one. Like, Houston is good. They've made improvements under DeMeco Ryans, but they're not this animal that's coming into town this weekend. Ray Lewis will be there, Ed Reed, J.O., Sizzle, Anquan Bolden, even Michael Phelps. Like, all those guys are doing a lot of pregame stuff for this matchup. I'm sure they'll show them on the Jumbotron. Like, this is critical, in my opinion. Like, we got to win this one. We cannot let them come in there in our home turf and win the first AFC Championship game that we had as the Ravens organization. We played as the Colts there, but not as the Ravens. Rain is in the forecast. I don't think it'll impact the game too much. Both of these teams are used to playing in the elements, whether it's snow, rain, wind, all that type of stuff. But yeah, bottom line is please, for the love of God, Baltimore, please win this game. Like, I don't care if it's by 1 point. I would love a blowout. I would love to see Patrick Mahomes chewing on his, like I texted you, chewing on his mouthpiece with his head like this. Because when his head is like that, he's losing. Like, when his head is straight, he's fine. But when his head is like that, he's losing. But and I really don't want to see them back in the Super Bowl, especially at our expense. And then celebrating the AFC Championship after the game, a win on our turf, that's even worse. Like, that's something you never want to see, is somebody else coming to your house and win the AFC Championship. And then we'd have to deal with his wife, Brittany Mahomes, his brother, I can't remember his name, and Taylor Swift now, and apparently at the last week we got to deal with Jason Kelsey now too. So the whole goddamn family is crazy, including. I really just, but yeah, just win Baltimore. Just win, like Al Davis used to say, just win, baby. I don't care how we get it, but it would be extra sweet to blow the fake roof off of M&T Bank Stadium and beat the living hell out of them. But yeah, they're gonna come. You asked me off air last week, was I worried about Houston? And I said, yeah, I'm worried about them, but I'm even more worried about Kansas City. We know what they've done over the years. They've had guys dropping balls left and right this year, and they won games. They lost their offensive coordinator, and they seem to have figured that out for the most part. The defense is probably the best under Mahomes. Chris Jones, I always talk about him in any Kansas City game that we talk about. George Karlaftis on that side of the ball. I mean, they just got guys all over the place. They even got a good kicker. So yeah, it's simple. Like we got so much stuff to focus on. You want to get out to a quick start. And another thing I mentioned to you off air was, if we win the coin toss, make sure they get the ball first. That's how they get ahead on teams right at the end of the half. They like to double dip. They're good with their timeouts, which we can't control that unless the crowd's like really into it, which I don't think their offensive line is going to be impacted to where they're going to need to take timeouts because the clock is running down. They keep their timeouts to the end of the first half and use them right when they need to. They score before half and they come right out of half and score again. And generally it's a touchdown, especially after halftime, but at the worst it's a field goal there before halftime. So yeah, that's something small that a lot of teams don't pay attention to. So yeah, I want to defer the first half kickoff to them if we win the coin toss. But yeah, it should be a good game. I got us winning, not because I'm a fan, but because I really do think our roster is set up this time more than the other 4 times we've played them, even though we only beat them once. But and our roster stacks up pretty good against just about every football team in the National Football League right now, whether they're playing or not. But yeah, I'm going to go with Baltimore this one. I think it'll be close, though. They're going to give us a run for their money, but I think that LJ and those guys, especially LJ, he's motivated to get a Super Bowl and get to the Super Bowl and obviously win one. So yeah, give me Baltimore.
Okay. I want to say this too. Even if y'all fall behind, don't abandon the run. Keep running the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you on all those fronts. Let me ask you a question. I was looking at some earlier this week about the Ravens. Cam Newton, he had an interview with somebody. I think he said he was talking to a fan or somebody, and they asked him, or he asked him, who's more important to Baltimore or who's more popular, and it was like between Ray Lewis and Lamar Jackson. And I forgot who said which, but they chose Lamar Jackson. I want to ask you the same question. Do you think, is Ray Lewis still bigger, or you think Lamar Jackson is bigger in Baltimore now?
That's a very good question. In my heart of hearts, if I had to choose right now, it's LJ.
Really?
I think that, and he's just got him by a slight edge. I think that, he's won the MVP, the pure MVP. Ray won 2 Defensive Player of the Years. He won 2 Super Bowls with us, but LJ, I think, has, transformed our offense into something that we didn't have under Joe Flacco. We didn't have under Kyle Bowler, Anthony Wright, all those guys over the years. We even have Vinny Testaverde back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, Trent Dilfer. I can go on and on. I think we have stability at that position with him. He makes everybody around him better. We always know that with him in the game, and it's similar to Ray on this aspect, and more so Ed Reed, but being that the question's about Ray, when those guys are playing, we always got a chance to win. But, it's something about an offensive player, offense scores points, stuff like that. We've seen the record without him in there. We've been formidable, and I think that's because of Harbaugh as well. But I think if I had to pick right now, it's LJ. And I think that eventually, once it's all said and done, hopefully he spends his entire career there, but I think he'll have a statue out there with Ray and Johnny Unitas. He'll be the first black quarterback, I guess you could say, to have a statue. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it's LJ just by a slight edge right now. I still love me some Ray Lewis. I get hyped up every time I see him. I love to see him at the games because he gets the crowd hyped up. I've watched him on a reality show, follow him on all social media and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
I think the only thing that scares me about LJ is that the stage of players right now, they don't stay in organizations for long. So it could be a situation to where, especially at his position too, where if he starts to decline over the next 3 to 5 years, coupled with the contract, it could be a situation where he gets traded or released. You know what I'm saying? We just seeing it so much more with players across the board, no matter what
Mhm.
position. But overall, right now, yeah, I give it to LJ.
Gotcha. And I just want to point out, I want to have a little conspiracy theory because you mentioned if something fluky happens with the Chiefs and they somehow win, Taylor Swift, that's even more fans, more popularity, more. That's my little conspiracy little thing. I don't want to put it out there in the world to say it's going to happen, but if some fluky shit happen where a call is obviously,
Mm-hmm.
blown or doesn't get overturned and they win, and Taylor Swift is, that's a lot of attention and popularity and stuff like that. But
Yep.
yeah, Ravens, let's do it.
Yeah, they want her at the Super Bowl for the revenue side. But like I said, even if she wasn't with Travis, strange things happen in
Yeah.
Kansas City, even though we're in Baltimore. But
Mhm.
strange things happen with the Chiefs now too. So yeah, that'll definitely be something to watch for sure. All right. Big game at Levi's Stadium Sunday evening. Lions and 49ers will battle it out for an opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. I feel like the Lions are going to put up a good fight. I just don't think that they have enough overall. I think that 49ers roster is stacked across the board, similar to the Ravens roster. And I think they also, the good amount of those guys are still on the roster from last year in the NFC Championship when they lost in Philly, and they lost bad. They got embarrassed. They were really banged up. They had Trent Williams get kicked out of the game, so it was just a long day for them. I think they really want to redeem themselves. But stat wise, you look at Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They all have similar stat lines, but the biggest difference, just like last week and just like most games for San Francisco, run CMC. He could slash you in multiple ways. Um, I just, I think the Lions' run game is pretty good in goal line and short line situations. Not taking anything away from those guys, but we're talking about a potential MVP candidate in run CMC, Christian McCaffrey. I think they'll win. And as far as an edge, I got to give it to the running backs in those terms. Defensively, the 49ers, though, they got to clean up some mistakes from last week. They had guys running wide open on them, a lot of run after the catch. Green Bay had a couple long drives, and now you welcome in a better Detroit offense. Probably have a candidate for rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year if C.J. Stroud wasn't playing, and Sam Laporta, a guy that's gonna seem like a phenomenal career. I think it could be more of a shootout if they don't clean up some of them things, 49ers defense. But all in all, I feel like the 49ers should win this one. I don't mind either team winning this one, though. I really have respect for both teams. I'm not
Mhm.
exactly a Dan Campbell fanatic, but as far as the teams go, I think he's a little strange. But as far as the teams go, yeah, I think it would be kind of cool to see Detroit play in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be really hard to go into Levi Stadium and win, but yeah, I think the 49ers have the edge in this one. How do you see this one panning out?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Lions defense might have a long day out there. I don't know if Debo Samuel's going to play. I know he's been dealing with a shoulder injury. I feel like he will play. I think he'll tough it out, do what he needs to do, get out there. Also want to see him because, I mentioned CJ Gardner Johnson last week for the Lions, how him and Baker kind of
Yeah,
have a beef. There might be a little beef between him and Debo as well. Because I remember, what was it, last year maybe? I think Debo Samuel was on a I Am Athlete podcast, and he was talking about the Eagles, and CJ Gardner Johnson was still on the team at that point. He was like trash. He called him trash. So I feel like CJ Gardner Johnson remembers that, and they might
yeah,
mix it up a little bit if they play. But yeah. Also the old line for the Lions has really been a strong point for them this season. I think they're gonna have some injuries. One of their guards, Jonah Jackson, he's probably gonna miss this game. Also, their center, Frank Ragnow, he's missed a couple practices this week. He's probably going to play, but I think, he might be a little bit affected out there, and that gives more chances for, that D-line for the San Fran Niners to do their thing out there, Nick Bosa and crew. Maybe Chase Young will make a splash play out there. We'll see. But,
mm,
yeah, I agree with you. Also, it's still even though Jared Goff's been in the Super Bowl before and he's had a ton of success, it's still that little. I don't know about him sometimes.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like he might, turn the ball over. Something crazy might happen. He might have one of those fluky games. But we'll see. I don't know if just because the line is going to be banged up, how effective they are going to be in the run game. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, those are a great 1-2 punch. Hopefully they can get it done. I do want to see the Lions win, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
True.
Like you said, the Niners roster is pretty good. CMC, potential MVP candidate. But if there's any chance to lose, it's probably going to be on Brock Purdy's shoulders. But I don't know. I feel like he's kind of one of those guys too. Is like, even though he hasn't played too much, is like this dude. He had a couple fluky games. I can't admit that, but it's like I don't know. It's something about him. Like, dang, this dude goes out there and they always find a way to win too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of like Brady-esque, but like on a really small, like low level. Like I kind of see it like, dang, I didn't do that. Something. Yeah, but yeah, give me the Niners in this one. They're favored by 7 points, so the odds makers, Vegas, all of them think it's probably going to be a relatively easy game for them. I think it'll be a little bit closer. I think the Lions can cover. I think it will be a shootout. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he'll have some plays out there. Like you said, Sam Laporta also. And I think Dan Campbell's going to have those guys inspired. I know he's a little strange and weird too, but he does get his group motivated out there to play. So I think it'll be a close game. But in the end, I feel like Jared Goff might make a mistake or two. Somebody on the Niners defense is going to make a play against that O-line, or even somebody in the secondary maybe force a pick or cause a fumble, and that's going to swing the tide to the Niners' way. So, yeah, give me the Niners. I'm going to say 34 28 or no 34 30. Yeah, give me Niners 34 30. Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Before we go, if you want to touch on the coaching situation with your team, I think just the Seahawks and the and the Commanders, I believe, are the only vacant jobs right now. Do you have any thoughts on
I don't know, man. I just honestly, after this season, I kind of like took a step back on the Commanders and just following, because they got on my nerves so damn bad, to be honest with you. We were talking earlier, like I read early this morning, we talking off air, how I think Dan Quinn got on his third interview or something with the Commanders, and I'm like, I guess we'll see. I really don't know what's going to happen, who we're going to pick. I do like that. I want to pivot a little bit. I do like the Raheem Morris going back to the Falcons, because he was their interim head coach back in the day in 2020. So it's cool that it's cool that he's got a chance to go out there and see if he can redeem himself and turn that team around. But as far as Commanders, please, can we get it right for once? Can we just get it right for once? That's all I got on that. Yeah. Hey, you got any thoughts on that?
Understood. Yeah, we was talking off air, like you said, about Dan Quinn. Just surprised that he even got to the third interview with Washington. I think that he was next in line, according to a lot of Cowboys fans and insiders, NFL insiders, that McCarthy's heading into his final year. Jerry Jones dropped the bank on Jason Garrett a long time ago. I think Wade Phillips was the coach then, and he was kind of in the same situation McCarthy. They'd get to the playoffs, so they'd have winning records and stuff, and didn't go nowhere. And he dropped that bag on him, made him the highest paid OC, and he stuck around. Of course, he became head coach. So is Jerry Jones going to pull something out the bag in the next couple of days if he gets the inkling that Washington is going to pick him, or let's say Washington puts a deal on the table and it comes out, it could be similar to that. What was it? The Josh McDaniels, was he with the Broncos? I think it was one of those teams where he had signed on, or he's going to be the next head coach, and he changed his mind. Yeah. So could be a situation like that. But yeah, I said it to you that I think Dan Campbell's a better defensive coordinator. if it came down to Washington and Seattle, I don't know if Seattle had how far they are in the interview process, what they thinking, stuff like that. I think he'd pick Seattle. I think he'd like going back to Seattle, the place where he was, DC, as opposed to Washington, where he don't have any ties basically to anybody except for the relationships he may have built through the rivalry. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's very two interesting organizations right there, Seattle and Washington. What they're gonna go, their next step.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Championship Sunday is just a couple days away. AFC Championship, of course, 3:00 p.m. Eastern time. NFC title game will follow at 6:30 Eastern. Best of luck to everyone except for the Chiefs. I mean, I'm not gonna give them any type of good feelings, any good vibes, nothing like that. I'm sorry. Maybe after the game, but we'll be back early next week for a recap. Until next time, love one another.